Hello, this is Mr. Evilcheese.
And I'm Zombie Cat.
And this is our review video, or just video showing off my custom 1/6 scale Poison Ivy figure.
Well, I'm reviewing it.
Oh, yeah. I started this like over a year ago, but didn't do a whole lot over a year ago. And a couple months ago, I really started working on it again. Because I had an idea of how to make it, and I was really excited about it and bought all this stuff to make it with. A lot of the early stuff I didn't really use very much, but some of it I did. And then I kept finding more stuff and having more ideas, and it just ended up getting insane. If you've seen my reviews for The Walking Dead Clementine and the Tank Girl 6-scale figures, I went really overboard.
Yeah, you have a tendency to get out of hand.
Yes. With her, it's overboard in a kind of a different way, because with them it was I just made a ridiculous amount of accessories. But her, she's more overboard just because of how long it took, and her base is insane. Well,
I mean, it's kind of like making accessories, except they're attached to the base.
Yeah. You can be swapped out a little bit too.
And but I haven't really seen much of her at all. I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah. It's not, I'd say it's done, but I may tweak it. That's the same thing with the Clementine Tank Girl. I may tweak them at some points if I ever find a better head for Tank Girl and that kind of stuff. But it's done enough for the video, so I finally get to show it off. Well, this will be your first time seeing the whole thing mostly done.
Ooh, that is cool.
So, yeah, that took a really long time.
Dude, I didn't even see like her outfit or anything. When I saw it, you were just first starting to make it, and that outfit looks amazing. That's ridiculous.
That just reminded me, I forgot that before this video, I wanted to try to count to get somewhat of an estimate of how many leaves are on her body. Because every single
leaf, thousands?
Every single leaf is a separate leaf that I had to put on her.
And you cut those all out yourself,
yeah,
didn't
you? I had to cut all those leaves. It was a lot. But I don't know how many there are. I would guess there's probably close to 1,000 leaves on her. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. So I did a count as best as I could, and there's somewhere around 1,100 leaves. Could be a little more, a little less. But there's about like 150 on each leg. And then for the forearms, there's about 160 on each of them, and there's a lot of freaking leaves. But I seriously can't believe I spent that much time putting each individual leaf on there, and there's 1,100 of them. That was a lot of work. I still spent a lot on plant parts, but I feel like this probably ended up being a lot cheaper than Tank Girl and Clementine were when I made them.
Yeah.
Base is pretty ridiculous. I wasn't even going to make a base. I had the idea of making these one day, these little mouths. And I'm like, well, I gotta attach them to something. And then I was thinking, well, what if I put moss on the base and it'd be like plant-like? Then I was at the store and I seen other really cheap, like Walmart had like really cheap little flowers like these. I'm like, oh, those look cool on there. Joann's in different places. And then the base just got crazy.
It's kind of insane. I love it.
There is options. Stuff can be swapped out too. And she can come off of there. She has a Fison body. She's being held up by this vine, that vine, and that vine. This vine back here is also in case I need to hold her up.
It's dingling away over there.
Yeah, she's can jingle, giggly, wiggle around too. But yeah, she's just kind of hovering up right there. But I'll take her off in a little bit. But yeah, I had a couple Harley 6 scales, and a Catwoman. And I was thinking I really want Poison Ivy, and because like they're like the 3 main female Batman villains, the Gotham City Sirens when they're a team, and there wasn't really any good options. So I figured I could make it myself when I had the idea of buying plant pieces and gluing it on her to make the suit. I knew it would take forever, but that made it even worse.
Well, I think initially, when you started a long time ago, you were going to make her suit out of something else. and it didn't work, and you got frustrated with it. Maybe that's why you didn't work on it that much for a while.
Oh no, that was just the undersuit. What I was going to glue the leaves to didn't work the first time. But then I found there's a Finalizing figure named Dawn. It's from a comic book, and she comes with a like swimsuit piece. I don't know what you call it, one piece. And I just bought that on eBay or somewhere and cut it up, cut the stomach out. So that's actually on her underneath. I think I took pictures of how I made her. Then I just glued them to that.
I think you would call that like a leotard?
Yeah, something like that. One of the really big issues that's worrying me the whole time, and still somewhat worries me, is the leaves don't stick very well. Like, not as well as I'd like. If I bump it too much, say she fell over right now, there would at least be a few leaves knocked off of her. And sometimes it don't matter, you don't really notice, but some places it does stand out. But once I went over the leaves with some gloss paint, it seemed to make them stand a little better. I just put a couple coats on it.
That's good.
Some of the leaves, like the ones around her chest and right there, are hard plastic. But for where she moves, like right here, it's like softer or more flexible leaves around her waist. I had a lot of issues finding a head too, but I found this one. It had the red hair, and I thought it would look good if I couldn't find anything else, so I got it. And it works, but I think of her more as making a sexy, seductive face or something. So I was trying to find something like that, and there wasn't really that many good options, at least that had red hair. And I thought I could buy one of those and then give it red hair, but that's a real pain in the ass. So I went with this one for now. There's like red Sonya heads, which I could have used. There's a whole bunch of heads. Dawn even has a head that could have worked.
Yeah, customizing hair is like one of the most annoying things. I did it on both of mine. I'm really irritated.
Yeah, it's not fun. And when I was already doing her clothes made of leaves, I didn't really want to do the hair too. But there's another head I'm thinking about getting, but I would have to put the red hair on it. But I really do like this one now. One of the last things I did, which is just the other day, was put these leaves around her face. I just thought about doing that, and I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
The main idea of what I was trying to make the suit look like was from art from, I think the guy's name is Stanley Lau, and he goes by Art Germ. And he made a painting that it's one of my favorite pictures of Poison Ivy, and that's kind of what this suit is supposed to look like. But the whole thing in the base is kind of influenced by several statues and things that I've seen of her that look really cool. And she also is depicted in lots of different ways. Sometimes her skin is green, sometimes her clothes are fabric and there's just some leaves on it, and sometimes they're completely made of leaves like I did here. So there are lots of different ways that she could be done, but I just like this one. I actually thought about maybe trying to dye her skin green, but I think I'm just going to keep it this way.
I think sometimes the green skin just makes her look sick.
Yeah.
It has to be the right color of green. It'd be really hard to do that if you were dyeing the skin.
Yeah. So, she does have accessories, just not a whole lot of what I would consider to be accessories. But these vines wrapped around her arm right here and here. It might be hard to tell because there's vines everywhere. But this one is wrapped around her arm. I had to sculpt these little things on here. Oh, these vines like this, and this one back here that makes up that these are attached to, are a reptile terrarium vine that's bendable. And that's probably one of the best things I found to go for the base, because they're bendable and they look really good.
Yeah, they're made to look realistic.
And that also helped me want to make the base crazy, because I found them.
Mm-hmm. It is kind of insane.
But this is a wire. It's actually a wire that's meant to look like plant, and then I wrapped a skinnier one around it. This one actually had flowers on it, and I just kept the stem, and because the wire in this one's really sturdy, so that's why I made that one of the ones to hold her up. Lots of these random plants I just found. I thought they'd look cool. I tried to find ones that look kind of evil or just weird. Like this one just looks, I don't even know what kind of plant that is, but it just looks like an evil plant. And obviously the Venus flytraps, she has like giant ones here. And whatever this thing is.
And I helped you pick out the lilies in the back.
Yeah,
the big
these.
ones.
Because I felt like there was not enough plants back there. And it would look good if there's some big reddish or pinkish or purple color back there.
I think they do look really nice.
Yeah. And that goes with it. One of the other accessories is if I take her off there, I have a hole drilled in here. So we can put these, what you made, you can put these down in there and she can sit on it as like a seat. And they also look kind of evil. So there's that one, and there's this one. And I think you just took these two.
It was actually 3 different flowers, and I just took them apart and put their parts together.
Yeah, they were either all red or all black, and you mixed them together. They turned out pretty cool. And I was going to have it, I could still do it as an option, because there's still holes drilled back there, where it'd be like up here. But it just
I think
seemed
it's too much.
Yeah,
I think it's better as a seat.
Yeah, it was just too much. And the black didn't really go with it up in that area. And she has alternate hands, but I really don't know if I'll ever switch them. Like, she's alternate feet. Because I thought maybe it would look better with her feet dangling to be in this pose, but I don't know. And like these ones could be holding vines or something. But I just got the more open hands where they're just kind of coming off of her. So I don't know if I'll ever switch them. And it's kind of dangerous with them leaves at the end. That is one thing really cool about the leaves there, is it for the most part blocks the joint. At this angle you can kind of see in there, but usually you wouldn't see the joints at her ankles or her wrists. The one thing hard about putting the leaves on was getting the directions of them to look good. I went by the painting a little bit, but also in areas where the painting didn't show, I had to kind of come up with it. Because the leaves are kind of going up this way, pointing up, but then these ones are coming down, so they run into each other. And right here in the center, they're kind of just going all out.
Yeah, they're like radiating out of the middle.
And they wrap up around their boobs.
I really like the way they go up around her chest. It looks really good.
Even at the legs and arms, the same thing happens, because at the top, the leaves point up, at the bottom they point down, so somewhere they gotta meet.
Yeah, you can't even tell where they meet at unless you look really close.
But some of the vines here are supposed to stay on her, but these ones are actually the ones that are attached to this that are holding her up. I guess we can get it off there now, so it'll be easier to show off the base and her. So there she is off the base before I take the vines off her arms. You can kind of see a little better what these vines are. Just that big one in this part there, and that big one wrapped here is what comes off. Now, if I don't want the vines wrapped around their arms, they could also just be on their own too, like the little creatures doing their own thing, helping her out. Okay, so there she's got her vines off of her. And these vines just kind of stay on her. It's really hard, a really stiff wire wrapped around her. This one you can kind of pose a little bit if you want. And this will do. Yeah, those ones stay there. These can come off, but they're there for now.
I really like those little ones.
Yeah.
They turn out looking really good on them.
The art I was basing this off I don't think it has anything here, but I just thought it looked like something should be there. I even stuck one on this leg, but that'll just be too hard with putting the vine on her to hold her up on the base.
That little leaf's trying to get down in her cleavage.
Yeah. Pervert leaf. One issue I have with the Bison body that kind of bugged me is the boobs are humongous on this. I almost thought about trying to get a different body. I actually did buy a different body, but I ended up using it for something else because it didn't look as good. Because I picture her as being pale, like red-haired and pale. And this one just really looked good with the skin color. So.
I mean, she usually is depicted as being pretty voluptuous, but those boobs are ridiculous.
Yeah. It's funny, I made a...
Boobs as big as her friggin' head.
I made a custom Catwoman, and I'm working on a custom Harley, and all three of them ended up with humongous boobs, which bothered me on all three of them. But the bodies that I want to use for the way I'm using them, those ones just work best. Just the boobs don't. I wish I could just shrink them. Just go and shrink them.
You just want to squeeze the boobs.
Bison needs to make it so you can inflate and deflate the boobs.
Well, they even have like different bust sizes, but it's like gigantic or humongous.
Yeah.
Which size would you like?
Well, there are smaller breast sizes, but the body shape is different.
Yeah.
It's not like you can get this exact body shape except the boobs are small. If you want the boobs smaller, the body shape changes too. But I also stuck leaves in her hair because she's often depicted that way. That's kind of hard to do because you got to glue them in there, but at the same time you don't want all the hair glued together. So I had to like glue them to single strands. I would like it if she had longer hair. This is pretty long. It's fine, but it's from mine longer hair too. And I thought she needed more color on her, so I made these little purple flowers. Had them cut them out of plastic and make them and paint them.
They look good. And they kind of look like the big lilies.
Yeah.
Kind of the same type of shape.
Yeah, you see all them freaking leaves on there. It's ridiculous. And then they go up under her crotch, which that's dangerous. But they're the more flexible ones down there, so hopefully they stay. The background here, another place where they all run into each other.
Can you imagine having the leaves in your butt crack all day?
Yeah, I don't think I would like that.
I would hate that.
And especially ivy.
Poison ivy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Actually, I probably wouldn't. I don't seem to be affected by poison ivy that much, but you would be miserable.
Yeah. And I think these are kind of what ivy leaves look like, is what I try to cut them like. I am afraid to move her sometimes, but you can move.
Up there, a leaf popped off.
Yeah, I don't even know. Oh, it was right there. See, the ones on the vines don't stay that well. I just gotta re-glue them. I've had to do that every once in a while, just re-glue them on once I get her in a pose. So now, if I bought a figure like this and the leaves kept popping off, I'd be really annoyed. Although we bought that giant winged woman and her feathers come off sometimes, and it's just like, I understand.
Yeah.
This one, originally, I had it going up further, just so it wasn't so symmetrical. But it was like that same thickness all the way up, and it looked like she had a cast on or something, so I cut it back down. But she can turn to sides, hopefully it works okay. You can hear it cracking. It's cracking, I think. Oh no, wait, that's actually her legs rubbing. Yes, she's flexible. This is very scary moving her. I'm like afraid it wouldn't happen, but I'm afraid the leaves are just gonna go and fly.
They all fly off at the same time. She's just naked.
Yeah. It's usually just one or two leaves will fall off if I mess with it too much.
She's like a puffer fish, but instead of blowing up real big, just all of her leaves go shooting everywhere.
She actually wouldn't be naked though, because she's still got that leotard, as you call it, underneath there. But yeah, I like that she can move, because I wanted her to be a figure, a 6-scale figure that you can actually pose and things like that.
Well, I think it actually would be harder to make her a statue.
Why?
Because you'd have to make a statue.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't just buy a body, you'd have to make one.
Yeah. Well, I could have bought a body like this and made it so I can't ever move it. I guess. I don't know. The one thing is, her skin color on her face isn't exact.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
I think you're just...
It's hard to find a face that pale, and I really didn't want to paint it. I did paint her, like, I painted her eyes green, and I painted the green eyeshadow. I painted her lips red. Like I said, I glued those leaves
I
there.
do remember the eyeshadow thing, because you had to come find me and ask me where you put eyeshadow at. Like, do you put it here too, or just there?
Yeah, I didn't know how far over you go with it, stuff like that. And I didn't know if you put it underneath the eye.
Well, I mean, you can do a lot of different things as a matter of choice, but I think it turned out looking good how it is.
Yeah. Hey, look at all them leaves. I'll count them for this video to see.
It's so many. I remember there were several nights where you were just sitting on the couch with the little TV dinner tray watching TV, cutting leaves.
Yeah.
Just sitting there cutting leaves. But I do think once you got your momentum going on this, that you actually made it pretty quickly. Finished it anyway.
Yeah. It sat in a box not doing anything for probably almost a year.
Yeah.
And then once I started it, it took a few months. But your accessories, like I said, I cut this off of that main plant, and I just thought, I didn't really ever see her have these, but she has like little Venus flytrap looking things, or just monster plants, and I figured, well, she could have these come out and attack. So I sculpted them on with latex and painted them, and then sculpted these little claws with epoxy sculpt. That worked pretty well. These are bendable. You can pose them however you want to do.
You know what's probably my favorite thing about all of this?
What?
That guy right there.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I actually imagined you saying this. I was thinking we're going to do the review and you're going to say, that's my favorite thing of the whole thing.
I just... It's something, like, the reason why it's my favorite is because it's something that you made yourself. You sculpted it completely.
No, I'm fine with you say that. I'm just saying.
And the drool looks amazing.
Yeah. I was worried about it, too, because I did the drool on the little one first. And sometimes I look at it and think, I don't know if I like the way I did that. Because it almost, in certain ways, don't look like how drool would naturally be. So I was afraid I would mess it up worse on this one. But I like how it turned out.
Mm-hmm. I don't think the little one's bad either. Because it's like, it's not drool, it's a plant.
Yeah.
It's probably like sticky, syrupy stuff.
And it's 3 jaws opening instead of 2, which would be different.
Mm-hmm.
Most of this is made out of that, what is that, like fabric glue? It's very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it I was trying a glue gun. That's this one. But it was too dark, or too
I think it looks
opaque.
kind of cool that some of it is whitish and some of it's very clear.
Yeah. But I sculpted... made this the same way, where I used cotton and latex to make the mouth. And just attached it right to that. Made all the little teeth out of Sculpty. Made the tongue on this one out of Sculpty. The tongue on this one's the same way I made the jaws. And then I just made these little ones. These are supposed to be like little ones that haven't opened yet.
Throw it away the babies.
But this is also an accessory, just random vine you can stick on her. I sculpted these little thorns on them and painted them. Because I wanted to have some thorns somewhere. There's no thorns on this at all. Like I just thought there should be some thorns.
Well, this has thorns.
Oh, well.
Because, I mean, they look like thorns.
Yeah, sort of. And then one of the vines for her arms I wanted to be a mouth. It's just supposed to be the same as them, just smaller, coming right off her arms. So I had to sculpt little teeny tiny teeth. This one doesn't have a tongue though. But I'm like, I may add that someday.
Well, maybe it does have a tongue and it's just not extended.
Maybe. But yeah, it's posable. Pose it all around. So at the craft store, and for the bottom part of the base, I used a piece of log that they sell there. You can just buy it as like I think it's supposed to be used as like you paint on it, you paint a picture on it, hang it on your wall.
I think they're for like either painting a picture on them or doing wood burning.
Yeah, but I just used it as a base. And I had to drill a whole bunch of holes. You could probably see, yeah, all these holes down here. I put the tacks in for
feet.
Yeah. But some of these you could take out like this. Come out. That one, like.
Well, that's the one. Didn't you originally have a different one of these and found one of the better color and
yeah.
switched them?
The other one was mostly green. This one's had that bright purple. I think these can come out too. The only things that are permanently attached are like these big ones, and then the ones that hold her up. You can't take them out. But I think like all these ones can come out. But I don't know why I would take them out.
Well, if you found a really cool plant one day,
well,
wanted
yeah.
to switch one.
That's true.
Because we go to the craft store all the fucking time.
I could see switching this one someday. I like that one because there's something a little spidery about it. The base is like a bunch of moss and stuff that I bought at the craft store, and I guess it's real moss, but they do something to it.
Yeah, so, they like dry it out.
So I don't know how long it'll last, but if it ever turns brown, I can replace it because most of it's not glued down. Some of it I had to glue, like over here, because it would just fall off. But I think it'd be pretty easy to rip off and just stick new one on if I had to.
Well, I have a bag of moss type stuff that I bought over a year ago, and it hasn't turned brown, so it'll last at least for a long while.
I don't know what these plants. I think it's supposed to be based on a real flower.
A thistle, maybe?
Maybe, but I just like it. And this one's bendable too. But I just kind of want to try to put them in the big empty spots. I could also bend these around. This is its position I kind of want them, but let's see, move that around if I wanted to. All these can move, bend around in different ways, so depending on what I want her pose to be. These are all wire. And even the big one. The big one, I imagined that she could maybe sit on the vine if it was bent a certain way.
That would look kind of cool. Seems like something she'd do.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you picked those lilies. I'm not a flower person. I never have been. But I've always liked lilies. I like the way they look.
Yeah, I'm not a flower person either, but sometimes they can look evil. And then these, the only thing I really did to these was I painted the mouths a little brighter red and glossed them up so they looked like real Venus flytraps. This vine's also bendable. It's got sort of a mouth on it. No teeth or anything, but...
That one looks to me like a lobster claw type flower. Like that's the grabby hand flower.
Yeah. These vines I could just bend down if I didn't want them holding her up at the time. I'm not sure if that can be there. There's a hole drilled there for this to go down into for her to sit. So there, that's down in there now.
That looks kind of cool down there.
Yeah. So I'll try to get her to sit on there. One thing that's scary with Fison is staining of the skin, and I don't know. I actually did stick a... We have a couple Fisons that are older, and we just use them to see if
they're the test dummies.
Yeah, I tried painting different things out on them. And I held her on this flower for a while and didn't seem to stain her. Still worries me. But
that looks like a comfortable situation.
Well,
I know.
But, well, you get the idea. You can use that flower as a chair. I think it would be better if she was sort of relaxed more instead of sitting like she's a man. You know, leaning back seductively. Sea duck? Seductively.
Seagullishly?
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah. Well, I did have her touching. There we go. To sit amongst her plants. No, that should also be switched out with this one too. A little smaller. But I'm not sure if that'll work as well because it's smaller. So there she is. Fighting Batman.
He's a little grossed out. Like, why is this slimy thing touching me?
Look at all these little things that are falling off. Little leaves here and there.
Little pieces of moss from the base.
I was really wondering, trying to guess how many leaves will fall off during this review.
It's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah. So there she is with her base kind of wrapping up Batman. Well, she's doing whatever the hell she's doing to him. So there she is next to the Sideshow Harley Quinn. But I had to put it on a Fison body because their body just crumbled to pieces at the hips.
I think it looks better this way anyway.
Yeah. And there's Catwoman just kind of pieced together. It's got the Sideshow head. And then this black leather suit that's used for a lot of people's Catwoman and Black Widow customs. So she's not completely done yet. Another one I've been putting on. There's a lot of ones where I get them almost done and then just don't finish them. And she's one of them. It's cool seeing them together. Just to be like the Sirens, Gotham City Sirens. The Sideshow heads are kind of big compared to Poison Ivy's head. But that's okay. Probably wouldn't be as noticeable if she was up on her base and they're standing next to it. And there she is next to the Sideshow Joker, which they've had a few different Jokers, but this is the one I was able to get. And it's cool seeing them together. And there she is next to the Hot Toys Suicide Squad Harley Quinn. And kind of makes me sad that I remember there was plans for there to be a Gotham City Sirens movie, which would have been Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn, and then Poison Ivy and Catwoman as a team. But with Birds of Prey not doing so well, I don't know if that'll ever happen. Okay, so that was a tough review to do, just because of all the carefulness I gotta do while being drunk. But I did have fun making her, but also it was very tedious at times. Cutting out all the little things and gluing them on. It was really hard.
I think it was less frustrating though than some of the
Yeah.
you worked on.
For this one, most things worked the way I wanted. Like with Clem and Tank Girl. Well, not so much Tank Girl, but Clem had a lot of setbacks and issues.
I remember you getting real pissed off when you had to pretty much redo whole jackets.
Yeah.
You spent so much time doing that jacket that you had to fucking do it again.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this one I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Even if I don't tweak anything, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I think she looks great.
Like I said, I may tweak the head, but I don't know. Because there's other customs I want to move on to, so I don't know if I actually will. But I do like it. I don't know where it's going to go. The base is really big. I'm not sure if it'll fit in our glass cases.
I think it might be too tall.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Hopefully it'll fit.
Something out.
Yeah. But like I said, I don't think I'm going to make a video for the Catwoman, because there's a ton of people making that sort of Catwoman with that suit. But there's a Harley Quinn I'm making. I might do a video of that. I don't really have that to show right now. But yeah, this one turned out really well. And these are one of my favorite things. These wires, I love the way they work. Really help with the base.
Those are cool. That was a good idea too.
But yeah, tell me what you think about this. And this is Mr. Evilcheese.
And I'm Papa Cat.
Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
It's over, Selena.
Selena is Catwoman. I'm Pamela. Remember, Batman?
I like saying Selena better. Selena. 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 I like saying that. It tickles the tongue. But anyways, like I said, it's over.
Oh, those plants that attacked City Hall were just distraction to my true plan. You see, my true plan is to... Is he with you?
I thought he was with you.
Hey! Stop that!
Hey everyone, it's Clementine from The Walking Dead, and you are watching Mr. Evilcheese and Zombie Cat. Don't be a shitbird and subscribe already. Do it. Thanks.